Hey everybody, Nigel here, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and I've got this review for you. If you remember, I asked the question, do you want to see it? A couple of people said yes, so here we go. There are a few reviews of this kit already online. It's quite an old kit, as we know. It's 2005. No longer available, but there is one currently on eBay if you want to get it. They do fetch some silly money these days. So it's the 144 scale Antonov AN-124 Rustling. You can see I bought this years ago. It cost me $22.99, and it's got a 47.8 centimetre length and a 50.7 centimetre wingspan. So it's a big old bird, even in 144 scale. So the kit number is 04221, and if we look around the box, we can see on here we've got these are the paints we require. Sorry about the reflection there. And then there's some information about the kit there. If you want to read it, you can pause. Then we've got the interior detail, which is really nice. We've got the cranes, just like we did on the AN-225. And this one does have a front and rear entry. So we've got the tailplane there, and it's the fin looking lovely. Massive undercarriage, lovely engines, more on that later. More interior detail there we can see. And then flipping the box over, we've got some information about the actual aircraft there. We've got German, English, not sure what that is. That looks like Dutch, and that looks to me like French. So we've got German, French, English and Dutch on there. So there we got there's the English version if you want to pause and read that. And there's your German, there's your Dutch, sorry, your French, and then there's your Dutch down below, so you can have a read of that should you want to. And we can see down here it's actually a Revell Germany kit made in 2005. So there we go. So let's have a look inside the box and see what we get. This is although it's an old model, it's a brand new untouched kit. So we've got our old style Revell instruction book there, which is like no longer like the new ones now that are all in colour. And we've got some beautifully wrapped sprues, and we've got clear parts are in there all bagged up separately. So that's all like that. And then we've got our engine sprue here, which is all very nice. And then we've got another sprue, another bag here with our interior parts and some engine cowlings and stuff. And as I said, these engines are exactly the same as the ones on the AN-225. And we'll have a look at the decal sheet. This has got to be one of the biggest decal sheets of any model kit ever, I think. It is huge. So you can see there, I mean it's literally as big, it's whatever A3 is, sorry, yeah, A3, that's what size it is. So the length, so yeah, it's huge. So we can see there we've got all our different decals for all the different markings. We've got the Soviet Air Force here, then we've got the Volga Depner, that's how you pronounce it, I believe, and then that's obviously Volga Depner in Russian, I'm guessing, or Ukrainian. Not sure which is, if it's Russian or Ukrainian. I think it is actually Ukrainian at Volga Depner. So yeah, we can see here we've got the label that goes on the side, but there's all sorts of different liveries you've got on here, and you've got your stencil data as well. This thing underside of the wings, and that's plastered in these red crosses. I don't know why, but I'm sure somebody will tell me. So we can say it's printed in Italy. It's probably cartograph. So yeah, really nice decal sheet there. Beautiful. So let's get in these bags and have a look at some of the parts. Right, so here we go. Let's have a look at some of these bits and pieces. These are obviously the fuselage halves. So we've got some lovely smooth surface on there. It's not like the grainy Airfix sort of finish, and we've got beautifully fine scribed panel lining everywhere. There's obviously no rivet detail in this scale. And then we've got our nose here, which comes in two halves, and it's separate. One word of warning if building this: everyone I've seen build, they comment about you need a lot of filler on here to bring the nose out to the same width as the fuselage. So what I would do if I were building this, I would assemble the fuselage first, even dry fit it and tape it up, and then pack out the bottom of the nose section here with plastic card to get it to fit perfectly there, and then you don't lose all your scribe detail and everything. And also it'd be a lot easier to deal with one seam there than have to fill and blend everything there. So that's just my little bit of advice for you. So that's the starboard side of the fuselage, and here's the port side. And then we've got these little bits in here. I believe if it's like the 225, they're going to go inside here as like a frame for the nose to sit on. So yeah, very, very nice, very, very crisp, lovely detail. I'll try and show you close up. Again, this white plastic doesn't make life very easy, but you can see on there there's some lovely surface detail. Really, really nice. And then we've got a little bag of clear parts, so I won't open it, but you can see it's just your typical sort of 1/44 scale little windscreen area there. And then we've got the landing lights there by the look of it. So that's our first bag of parts. We've got another bag here which is going to be our engines and stuff. So just open this carefully. I do love these taped together bags because they can be resealed. You know, if you want to sell your model after doing a review, you can. So there you go. Right, so let's have a look at what we've got in here. Get those out of the way. So in here we've got a very, very warped floor, or our ceiling section by the look of it, so that's okay, that'll flatten out easy enough. So we've got our floor here, and that's going to be the underside of the floor, so our undercarriage are going to go in here. And then we've got our cockpit, got some front nose gear legs there which look very flashy. In fact, this is a very flashy sprue. There's flash everywhere on here. See all around these parts here, all around these undercarriage legs. Got some rods here which not quite sure what they are. They're probably supports for the nose or something. We've got flash all around that tail part there and these parts here. So yeah, a bit flashy, but you know, it is quite an old kit now. It's what's 14 years old. So but there we go. We've got our interior sidewall detail. Unlike the 225, we have got ejector pin marks on this one. We can see some oil in there, so it's going to need a good wash. In fact, it feels quite oily as well. You can see we've got oil on there. So yeah, very, very nice indeed. Again, we've got ejector pin marks in here in the roof. I'm assuming, yeah, that's going to be the downside. So we've got our access there for our ladders to get up into this area up in the up above should you want to, and obviously that's how they get up into the cockpit. So I'll give you some close-up. You can see there the cockpit, which is perfectly adequate in this scale. And then we've got our floor. We've got some lovely moulded on detail on the floor there, and we've got our moulded on detail on the roof and our side walls there. That's part of the front cargo hatch. That's all part of the front cargo hatch, and then there's the rear hatch there by the look of things. So yeah, very nice, and we can see that it's very flashy on those undercarriage doors there. So that's that one. And then this one here, we've got these are the insides of the tail area, which is nice. And then we've got the, what's that there? I don't know what the quite sure that's going to be. That's obviously part of the lower side there, I'm guessing. I don't know. And then we've got this here, which is going to be our rear cargo door, I'm guessing. I guess that will fold up inside, or maybe you have to cut it. We'll have a look at the instructions in a minute. Undercarriage wells there with some nice detail, and there's no ejector pin marks that I can see. So yeah, very nice indeed. We have got ejector pin marks here, unfortunately, which are going to have to be sanded out if you're going to have your doors open. But I'll just show you the close up there. We've got those undercarriage bays there, which are very nice. Lovely. And then here finally for this bag we've got this sprue, which is all our engine cowlings here. These are the rear doors that open up sideways, and this looks like more undercarriage doors here, to be honest. Yes, it does. I'm not sure what they are, but they're obviously going to go somewhere. Again, flash on the sprue, but nothing on the pod. There is some flash here, but nothing really much to worry about. And I do like the way they've done these engines, because you've got these halves and then you've got the front piece that goes in, so you haven't got a seam here to deal with inside that you can see when you look in the front of the engine. So that's that bag dealt with. We've got another bag here which is a single sprue. So we've got wow, long piece of tape on there. So we can just slide this one out. Back out of the way. So yeah, we've got our engines here, engine intakes. Here's those inside bits that go inside the front door again. These are actually engine intakes, so these rings here go on the front of these fan blades there. So that's a nice touch. They don't have that seam like I was talking about. Then we've got our wheels, all moulded as single piece, yes, and not all sink marks. And as I said with the 225, the wheels look very simple. It's all very oily, I tell you. They look very simple, but they are that simple in real life. They're not very detailed at all. They're quite plain. Undercarriage legs, got some little, absolutely tiny little pitot tubes there by the look of things, and some little pins for something or other. There's the turbine vanes on the engine, back end of the engines. And we've got our ladders here to get up into the cockpit area. We've got some bulkheads, and there's the fairings for the flap gear. And then we've got some undercarriage legs here again, like with the 225, you've got it kneeling or you've got it sat flat. More pylons there, and then there's the actual engines themselves. So I was amazed to read, actually. I didn't, even though I used to work for Rolls-Royce making airplane engines, I never realised that something like 85% of the engine's power comes from just literally the front fan blowing around the engine. I couldn't believe it when I read that. So yeah, very, very nice indeed. As I say, a little bit flashy here and there. We've got the cranes there, sorry, I called them ladders. But yeah, a little bit flashy here and there, but hey, you know, flashes, that's what knives are for. So let's have a close-up look at these parts. You can see the intakes there. Now, if you look back, a couple of weeks ago I did a review. I've got the metallic details set to replace all of this. So it replaces all of that. There's resin in there as well. Very, very nice indeed. There's our engines, undercarriage legs. Some sort of bulkhead there. We've got the fairings there with the lovely detail on them. And then there's our simplistic cranes, the pulleys. And what these cranes can lift is quite stunning, actually. So there we go. And then final bag here, which is very tightly packed. Have a look in here. We've got our, this is the wings. So we've got 4 sprues, which look pretty much the same, really, to be honest. So we've got our tail planes there, so you can see upper and lower, and then we've got, this is both lowers actually I'm showing you here. Let's show you an upper and a lower. There we go. So there's the upper there with the it's got like a, it's a bit weird. I wonder if the other one's the same. Yeah, the other one's the same. It looks kind of in the middle here. If I can show you in the light, you can see that the detail kind of goes all lumpy in the middle. It's part of the curing, I guess. I guess it's popped out the mould a bit too quick. And then we've got the same on this one. If you can pick that out there in the light. But yeah, very strange. But nonetheless, you know, when you think of the Revell 747 kit, this is 1,000,000% better than that. So we've got our nice mountings there for the engines, and then we've got nice positive locations for all our flat pylons, which is a nice touch. And again, they've got the proper droop moulded into the wings. You can see on there the proper droop, which is a nice touch. So yeah, I'm very impressed indeed. So that's all the plastic out with them. We've already looked at the decals at the beginning, so now let's see what the instructions hold for us. So as I say, we've got this plain black and white booklet style, not stapled or anything, it's just all loosely put together. But I'm just going to check you're all in the screen there we go. So we've got this is our health and safety and blah-de blah-de blah, and then you've got some tips and how to do your modelling there about cutting the parts off the sprue and identifying the parts, and then painting and stuff and blah blah blah. These are the symbols used for gluing and not gluing, and using sellotape and waiting for a while, and options and using weights and stuff. And here we got some, this is going to be our decal instructions here. Not quite sure what to say in there, but never mind. And then we've got some more stuff down here in different languages as well. Here we've got our paint callouts, again all Revell colour callouts, and again this mixing thing which everybody hates. But I absolutely love Revell paints, and they're my favourite paint on the brush, and I'm starting to use them in the airbrush a bit. The only downside to them is, and I'm talking about the aquas, they do take a while to dry. I use this thinners here, the Revell Aqua Colour Mix, and it does tend to take quite a while to dry, but you do end up with a very, very tough paint. It doesn't scratch off easily, even straight on plastic. So there we go, that's our sprue call-outs with all the parts there numbered for us, which is cool. And then here we've got 5 different options now. Remember the 225 we had 4, this one's got 5. So we can have it in flight, although there's no stand, no pilots. We can have it with its wheels down, just sat there. We can have it wheels down, rear cargo bay open. We can have it sat down, kneeling down with the front open. Or we can have it sat down, kneeling down with the front and the rear open. Okay, so there's your different options. So we're straight onto the interior. So this is adding the roof into the bulkheads, and then we're going to slide the cargo bay in there and then stick the sidewalls on. So it's all very similar to the 225. Cockpit going on there, and it's telling us we've got a decal to go in. So we've obviously got 3 decals to go in there, which is a nice touch in this small scale. Building up the undercarriage bays, adding our undercarriage and choosing which one we're going to have, the kneeling down or the straight sat on its wheels. Adding the undercarriage into the cargo, so very much like a helicopter build this. You build the inside and then slap the outside around it. And then we've got those parts that I showed you that go inside the actual fuselage, depending on whether you've got the door open or closed. Telling us to add 50 grams of weight to the nose. That's quite an appreciable amount of weight. And then we're going to add the bottom onto the fuselage there. And then we're going to add the doors in. These are the rear, no, these are actually the rear interiors, so that's going to go inside afterwards. And then we're adding the windscreen. Starting to build up the engines, assembling all our different engines into the different pylons, and then we're going to make up our pylons for our flaps there. And same here, more flaps, putting the wings together, adding the wing ID lights, and then we've got the pylons and the engines going on here. Putting together the tail planes, sticking it all together, saying to leave it to dry, and then we're going to build up the front undercarriage bay. And this is obviously going to change. If you've got it sat on its wheels, it's going to be like this. If you've got it sat with it kneeling, it's going to be on its stands with the wheels out forward. And if you haven't seen this working, there are videos on YouTube that show this close up, and it is basically got 2, it looks like, I don't know, 1.5 inch diameter jacks, screws, that just screw in a nut and basically lift these wheels up. So when the thing is loaded up, you know, this thing can carry, I think it's 150 tons, is it? I can carry. I know the 225 can carry 250 tons. Yeah, you can imagine the weight on there, and then it's just these screw jacks just pulling those undercarriage back up. It's quite incredible to see. So I digress. So here we've got our cargo bay here. So again, watch your YouTube videos, look at your references. There are a couple of books you can get on this, but they're not very cheap. So yeah, look at your references. You'll see how that all works. It all sort of comes out and unfolds onto the deck. And then here we've got our rear bay there. That's the lower section there. That's the ramp there by the look of it. So it looks like, you know, I'm not quite sure how this is all going to work out, because you add this bottom part in here, there, and then this part goes behind it. So how on earth can you do what they're talking about at the start? How'd you do that? Or that? Because that's all moulded in one piece. It's strange, it's not telling you to... It's not telling you to cut it. Very strange, very strange. So there we go, we're putting the side doors on here, and then we're going to add our undercarriage doors there, whether we're having the undercarriage up or down. Same here. And then adding our front wheels, adding the main wheels, and then going in from there. Here we go. This is the rear end, this is the difference. So adding in our doors there, I've got a ladder to go inside there, or we can have the ladder up. So it's either up or down. And these look lovely when they're painted in their bright orange. And then we've got our stays there which hold the nose up. Not sure if they're hydraulic or just actual arms that they clip in place to hold it all up. Pitot tubes going on there, and this is our front base. So we've got the front, as I said, it all sort of folds out like this. These end pieces here are separate parts, so you could actually cut them up and have a few down and a couple up if you wanted to. And then we've got the rear bay here, so that was my confusion back there. And then we've got the rear cargo bay going on there, the rear cargo door, and then that's it. And then we're straight into all our decals, and we can see here, this is all the stencils on the top of the wing, common to all the versions, and this is all the stencils on the bottom of the wing, common to all versions. So you can see, and then we've got all the stencils going on the engine, and then you've got markings on the vertical stabilizer, but that's only for 2 different versions. So we've got all those red crosses. Because if somebody knows, if they can tell me what those red crosses are, I'd be interested to know, because I know they're absolutely plastered in them. Now we've got AN-124 100 for the International Red Cross Geneva, and that's those 2 serial numbers there. Then we've got Operation Christmas Child 2003 charity flights. It's got that interesting flash on the tail there. Again, we've got this 82081 only, so that's obviously for that one. And then 76 is going to be this version, Operation Christmas Child, whatever that was. And then we've got the Polic Cargo Airlines, and this one's 2005 RE82075. And then this has got the interesting flashes on it. I'm not sure, one of them has got 50 years or something, or 20 years decals on the bottom of the nose here. I don't think that version's in here. So no, we haven't got that version in here. So there we go. We've got the decals there for 1998. This is Aeroflot Russia, and then we've got here the Russian Air Force from 2001, which is probably how I would do it, because you know, it's nice to keep a military theme with it. And also I have seen on eBay you can get the decals to build the current the current Antonov decal scheme with the blue and yellow stripes as you see it flying today. So there we go, guys, that's it. That's the Antonov AN-124 Ruslan from Revell. I think it's a lovely kit, really nice. Big old bird. I mean, you could just imagine how big and beautiful this would be in 1/72 scale. It'd be quite incredible. So there we go. So if you've liked this review, please hit that like button, and if you haven't liked it, hit the like button anyway, and if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe, and if you want to hear about all my videos as they come out, hit that notifications bell as well. So thanks for watching, thanks for getting me over the 5,000 for all those original subscribers, thanks to all the people that have donated on Patreon in the past, and those that will now come over to the PayPal, as I've got a link down below. So again, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye. And just quickly, guys, before I go, just now I said you can imagine the size of this thing in 72nd scale. You won't have to imagine for long, because this is the 1/72 scale Antonov AN-124, and it's from a Ukrainian company called Modelsvit. It has a span of 1 meter and 1 meter and 18 millimeters. It's nearly a meter long, 958 millimeters, 550 parts, and the weight 1,750 kilograms. I think they mean 1.75 kilograms. And you can see it's scale 1/72 scale, cat number 7201, and it's a plastic model kit, limited edition. But I think all of the Ukrainian models say limited edition. But we can see here, look at my size of my hands, it is huge. So we'll have a look at this one another day.